Welcome everyone to another edition of the Civ Battle Royale, part 74, 73, I'm not sure if T-Pang knows, the tipping point. Let's get right into it. Hey everyone, StreetLamp25 here, and honored to bring you this very exciting part 74, ? Shout out to T-Pang for the opportunity. A lot of questions were left unanswered last part, and hopefully they will be answered soon. Will the Boers repel the invaders once and for all? Will the Brazilians finally realize their golden opportunity in South America? How long will it take for the Inuit to swallow yet another civilization? Will Mongolia ever stop using helicopters in all ways but the proper one? Stay tuned to find out in another exciting edition of the Battle Royale. And here is the cylinder as we last saw it. We can see that the African coast continues to flip and the Inuit are moving in. And let's not forget, RIP David. I'm not Jewish. Spherical Melon delivers a ridiculously high quality representation of the Boer Reich. We here at the Battle Royale TM can only be jealous as hell of the consistent talent in this community, especially all of the beautiful shit posting that we see from the Spartans. Despite the continent of Africa falling under the leadership of a wizened biomechanical neck-bearded Afrikaner, the Inuit still retain their top spot due to their potential to power through Yakush's territory like piss through snow. Not many civs are left on our cylinder, but only 4 managed to remain neutral, albeit just because they aren't at war, it doesn't mean there isn't a veritable slew of denouncements and passive-aggressive comments on other civs' Facebook pages. What a way to start! I believe this is the Inuit Yakut front, but can't really tell through all of the smoke and radiation. Darkhan of Yakusha seems to have taken a leaf out of the Buccaneer chapter of How to Fight Wars Good, originally developed by Mao. All the Inuit cities here are in the red or black, but Darkhan doesn't exactly have any available strike team to do anything about it. Another hazy war front, this time in Central America. The Bucks have the clear tech advantage here and could be looking to make gains into Mexico. On another note, the Australian subs had their Bring Your Super Old Outdated Unit to Work Day up in the top left. Here we see that recruit Ishtar made it to Osaka. Also notice the lack of enemy units. Looks like Meiji will survive. For now. And next to the Vietnamese mountains, we have a couple of Siberian nukes possibly preparing to nuke the Finns to oblivion. We also see a shot of the newly acquired Siberian Kabul with only an Afghan general in the area. Looks like they'll be holding on to that. And all of Nebuchadnezzar's recruits have made it to their respective destinations, so let's take a quick break from the action to see what they have to tell us. And would you look at that, it's horseshit as usual. Looking at who's plotting against who, we see a lot of fairly meaningless rump state politics. There probably won't be any important game-hanging wars coming out of these, but it's still fun to imagine everything, especially with J. Rue's Agent M comic book series. I'm gonna make a personal request though. What the hell is with Crowfoot never getting spied on? I mean, I know he's a cool dude and everything, but I want to know what he's up to. So, yeah, let's do that. T-Pang, personal request. And here's something actually useful and new that the spies show us, a look at Kandahar, the new Afghan capital after the fall of Kabul. A couple of productive and workable tiles that would allow Hotak to stay alive to live yet another day if they can work out a peace deal. We can also see a Siberian hover tank picking off any odd melee units very close to the city, so that peace deal better come soon. Here we see Osaka, where Japan has been surviving for a while now. Not many resources around, and that cannon isn't going to repel prospective invaders if they manage to send more than one boat. For now, however, the Japanese are focused on their anime version of Pride and Prejudice, starring Elizabeth Bennet-chan and Mr. Darcy-kun, where, I guess, one of them is trying to notice the other one. It's pretty unclear, but one of them's senpai. And another city view, this time at Ciudad Juarez. A lot of pillaged tiles to the south and east, but the Mexican capital keeps chugging out troops to try and repel the Bucks and their power infantry squads we saw earlier. A shot of the European core here with Bucklands bare except for some radiation and some overworked workers. In other news, Gustavus of Sweden realized that he could never abolish leg day and makes peace with Leonidas. If there's one thing we can take away from this, it's never ever diss leg day. The Boers must really hate the citizens of Kumasi. Considering how they love their Ashanti pikemen, it's hard to see why. Surrounded by hover tanks, Kumasi is not going to fall unless the Boers get a melee unit in there. And when I say surrounded, I mean literally surrounded by hover tanks. That's a lot of tanks for one city, even if it is a capital. At this point, the city will just be bombarded to death. A sad, sad end. One of the saddest anime deaths on the internet. Here we see what used to be Africa. No longer. All the Buccaneer cities we can see are in the black, and the Boers are in a great position to finally push the Bucks out with a GDR poised to take Bamako and a plenty of units ready to come. Mess with the bull and you get the nukes, or something like that. I guess in this case it would be a polar bear or an orca or maybe a baby seal. It appears as if the Inuit didn't like being nuked, who would earlier, and are preparing a strike of their own. The Inuit have the troops to support their strike, though, so this might spell trouble for the Yakuts. And notice the little island tiles that they got up there. Nice job. Now a strategic view of the region, showing radiation on both fronts of the wars, with Konu flipping back to the Mongols but surrounded by the worst radiation of the region, suggesting a nuclear strike. Maybe it wiped the helicopters out and forced the Mongols to find a new strategy. Hopefully. And there he is! The Ashanti pikeman finally learned how to embark into the sea and is heading back to Boer territory, albeit a one-tile island. Maybe he's looking for some vacation. Meanwhile, the battle of the century is heating up as Boer carriers face off against a Vietnamese carrier. In all seriousness, Vietnam has a decent army or navy here. Perhaps a new front to the war? Scratch that stuff I said about Kandahar possibly becoming a safe place for the Afghans to hole up. It's in the black with a Siberian power infantry within striking distance. Looks like we could see another death here, folks. Prepare that F key. Here's another RP story, so feel free to skip it if that's not your bag. Meanwhile in Korea, Korean general. Sir, the Yakushans have been nuking people like crazy. What should we do? Sejong. What are we going to do? Declare war? General, yes, Supreme Leader, as you say. Sejong, you're joking. General, you outlawed sarcasm, remember? Sejong, yes, well, get on with it then and nuke something for the hell of it. We'll just say it was a test. True story, but anyway, the Koreans already have Jakusai surrounded and in the red. This is definitely not the part for Yakusha. A lot is going on in this slide. First, a look at the remains of Etharabia with Jericho on the red. Thankfully for them, no enemy units are close, except for the giant radioactive boar scorpions, but that's okay, no need to worry. Prime the F keys. The Jewish Inquisitor seems to have lost his protector as he wanders towards Gaza, only now believing the stories of his homeland in red and gray. You've got to feel sorry for them, as now Hotak of Afghanistan is plotting against them. It seems as if the world is trying to stop the Jewish Inquisition from happening before it even starts. Yakusha also has made peace with Sibir in hopes of strengthening their eastern front. As much, peace or grace as that will provide them, right? And the Ashanti just can't get a break. Besides Mexico plotting against everyone's favorite pikemen, look what Vietnam did. Just as the Ashanti were about to enjoy a nice, relaxed beachfront vacation, Vietnam decided to spite the Ashanti and snipe that hotbed of the nice, relaxed beachfront activities right from under their noses. The Ashanti are left with only their pool of tears to swim in, a sad replacement to nice, relaxed beachfront activities. I just want to imagine a bunch of Ashanti pikemen playing volleyball on the beach, like from Top Gun. And now Meiji is in on the plotting, this time against Anarata of Burma, and although Burma has been dead for a while now, since part 44, although there has been rumors that a sailor musician has been roaming the seas around Arabia, entertaining sailors and seamen for a 20, the Japanese might become a bit too greedy with their plotting and anger a legitimate power. Maybe not such a smart idea, Japan. While Japanese cannons are mighty, they're also cannons against, like, giant death robots and shit. And there's also only one of them, so good luck against the mighty kaiju. My point exactly. Here we see the Kimberley fleet now with more boats, a groundbreaking strategy, and a nuke. Shooting a nuke with a cannon is difficult and won't really prevent the nuke from ravaging the land, but don't tell Meiji that. Goodbye for now, Africa. We might see you again, we might not. Personally, I want rum to rule the world, but that glorious dream might have to be put on hold. The Boers have landed a hover tank in Iberia, so it could be the start of Borup. An Icelandic fleet armed with a nuke seemed to be lost in the warm waters of the Pacific. Or are they? The Bucks Corps is still void of anything but workers, but the Icelandic troops would have to go through the wall of carriers, a daunting task in and of itself. I wonder what they have planned. The Yakutians seem to have defended Jakusai not too shabbily. It's still in the red, but not as many sarcasm-deprived Koreans surround it. Druzhna has also been lowered to the red, however, with Korean reinforcements ready in the south to go to either city. Things are not looking good for our rap masters. Is that what they're called, the rap masters? Speak of the devil and he shall appear. I eat my words again as the Koreans power through and grab Jakusai. A giant death robot is ready to take Druzhna and free up the hover tanks to harass the Yakut settler, who is just in the wrong place at the wrong time. The Inuit have a giant death robot of their own to take Verneviksdisk. Say that 5 times fast. I didn't even say it once. There seems to be every color of unit surrounding it except brown and blue. The Yakuts are really losing ground here, and the 2 superpowers pushing on their core, they might not make it out of this one alive. Ass-kicking ahoy, ya landlubbers. The Bucks are back and they're all out of bubblegum. They have retaken most of the cities they lost the last time we looked here, and Iceland has even gotten in on the action. Now all of the Boer cities are in the black, and a Buck paratrooper, after a rousing pep talk and a bottle of rum, has landed alone in the heart of the Boers, primed to snipe Kardzadze. With some luck, they could actually hold it, as the nearest Boer units are workers and a hover tank. Things are looking a little grim for the Boers for the first time ever. We'll see. And also notice that Marrakesh is now in the hands of Iceland, where the Great Lighthouse is. So sorry Bucks, Iceland is now in charge. Vietnam is trying to take Middelburg, another one-tile Boer city. Their plans of taking it with one boat, seriously the AI strategy is golden, should be foiled by the drone-laden carriers sporadically placed around this shot. And the walls of Jericho have fallen. The Ethiopians had a good run, building up a sizable empire in East Africa and Arabia, but being so close to the Boers was always going to be a huge hurdle for Selassie. Rest in peace, RIP. Thank fucking God I don't have to pronounce his name anymore. I've butchered it for 74 parts. It's finally over. A shot of Boer East Africa with more workers than units. Baghdad is in the yellow, but with only 1 hover tank attacking, the Boers would be hard-pressed to keep it if they could take it, which they can't because of the whole hover tank thing. But, what's going on, Boers? Vietnam, if you just aggroed them, you'd be able to take a lot of shit. And the Boers are angry. Not much emotion affects the cyborgs these days. But if you go out of your way to limit the Ashanti from having a relaxing and beautiful beachfront activity, such as greased up volleyball with Goose, or whatever his name was from Top Gun, you can go fuck yourself. The Ashanti realize this and begrudgingly make their way back to the mainland, noticing the Vietnamese border gore cutting Sri Lanka in 2. They might want to talk to the Inquisitor about freeing their respective homelands. And the Boers have repelled the Buck push and are preparing a push of their own by showing that their cushion is ready for the pushin'. Alright. This remains one of the most fluctuating fronts of the entire BR. One turn you think the Bucks are gonna hold their land, and the next the Boers have purged them out. Makes for great action and makes my job easy, except for the whole predicting part. Jakusai is still in the possession of the Koreans, but the Yakuts have units nearby ready to flip it back. Druzhna is now in the black and will fall soon. Meanwhile, in the top right near Rex is also in the red. Worst news for the Yakuts, the Mongol helicopters survived and are coming from the southeast. Prepare your butthole. And the nukes just keep falling. This time in Arabia, it looks like both sides were nuked, and there's a nice fallout patch to commemorate the ruins of Damascus. How beautiful. Afghanistan keeps plotting against dead civs just to make them feel powerful again. Meiji has made peace with Leonidas as Korean naval carpet extends close and closer to the mainland of Japan. A Finnish paratrooper is just passing through, while 2 more look on from the north ready for their orders. Soon the hologram of Emperor Kekkonen could crackle through. Execute Order 66. A look now to the Mexican front, where even the combatants can't tell if they've been nuked again due to the insane amount of smoke, and no, it's turned 7:45, not 4:20. Ciudad Juarez is still in the red, but has been reinforced by friendly Mexican units who are still out-teched by the Bucks. An Icelandic great musician plays a mournful song to commemorate the lives and AI lost in the most recent glassing of West Africa and even Iberia. The DON, or Death by Nukes, toll is getting higher and higher. Don't you just wish the World Council would abolish them? That was the first thing the AI in Civ 4 would do. In this shot of North Africa, we can see that Iceland has unleashed Odin's wrath into the B-hole that is Africa, B standing for Boer. The Buck holdings here are under siege from the Boers, who demand revenge for their West African friends slain by the atom bomb. Boers don't hate these cities as much as Kumasi, but that's still a sizable army. More nukes are being prepared and fired as Olenyuk and Muktui are in the red and surrounded by the Yakut Navy and a mighty worker. Killer of Inuit, conqueror of cities, protector of Yakut, and all that jazz. Korea continues to gobble up Yakushan territory like it's kimchi. That's not meant to be racist, kimchi's delicious. A strategic view of the North again, with the same radiation problem that most people are having around the world. The Inuit haven't made a large amount of progress this part, but again keep slowly pushing through the Yakut territory. The addition of the Koreans to the war definitely will open the Yakut nut even further. Well, it looks like the Bucks are getting a taste of their own medicine as multiple nukes are unleashed on Buccaneer Spain. The best news for the Bucks right now is that their caravel wasn't blown to bits, because we know that the Boers are in love with those ships. Here we have a good look at the Tibetan city of Lhasa, guarded by an invincible army of caravans. But an army is an army, and if you want to build a metric buttload of caravans, then go ahead, to each his own. And that's all for this week's edition, folks. See you next time on the Civ Battle Royale. Just of note, TPangolin did make a post saying that he will be a little bit more involved in the community. The Reddit, the subreddit, I should say, the Civ Battle Royale, will be more active with TPangolin being involved. He installed a couple of new mods to address a weird science issue that another user had brought up. His name is slipping from me right now, but I'll try to find it. And yeah, there's only some cool things to come for the next couple of parts, so stay tuned. Once again, my name is Dawkinzz, and thanks for joining us for another edition of the audio narration. And we'll see you next time.